Your poverty isn't bad luck or a broken system. It's a verdict. You failed the first test of power, seeing the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. Look at the industry built around wealth, the 1,000-page tax codes, the convoluted investment strategies, the gurus selling 7-step frameworks, the 6-hour workday seminars, the sacred rituals of morning routines and gratitude journals. It is theater. And you, sitting in the audience, have mistaken the stagecraft for the mechanism. This manufactured complexity is the first and greatest lie. It is the fence they built around the orchard. The incantation they told you was necessary to open the door. The purpose is not to educate you, but to pacify you, to make the acquisition of power and resources seem like a distant, specialized science, requiring a lifetime of study and, most importantly, a moral purity you do not possess. They tie wealth to virtue. They say it requires innovation, genius, saintly perseverance, or a destiny granted only to the lucky. This is a fairy tale for adults. A control mechanism. The elite do not operate in complexity. They operate in brutal, elegant simplicity. Machiavelli did not write in riddles. He wrote in directives. The ends justify the means. A simple, cold principle. The complexity is only in the cowardice of the person who hears it, the moral shudder that prevents its application. The principle itself is a lever. You either pull it or you don't. Wealth operates on the same plane. It is not a puzzle to be solved. It is a resource to be extracted. The lie of complexity accomplishes 3 strategic objectives against you. First, it paralyzes inquiry. You believe you must learn everything before you can begin, so you never begin. You consume content instead of capturing ground. You are stuck in the library while the battle is fought in the fields. Second, it justifies your failure. When you don't succeed, you can blame the intricate system, the secret knowledge you lacked, the unfair advantage of others. It protects your ego by framing your inadequacy as a lack of information, not a lack of will or ruthless clarity. This is a comfort you cannot afford. Third, and most critically, it conceals the true source. It points your eyes to spreadsheets and stock tickers and business plans, while the real game is played on a different board. The board of psychology, of leverage, of understanding what people value more than money, status, security, validation, belonging, and then becoming the gatekeeper to it. The mechanism is simple. Find a dependency and exploit it. Find a fear and sell the armor. Find a desire and control the supply. Your poverty, therefore, begins not in your bank account, but in your perception. You see a world of layered, confusing systems. The predator sees a landscape of appetites and weaknesses, of flows and concentrations. You are studying the map's legend while he is taking the territory. Strip away the theater. The first step to power is to call the lie by its name. Complexity is the shield of the mediocre rich and the prison of the willing poor. The simplicity on the other side is not kind. It is not motivational. It is arithmetic. It is cause and effect. It is the understanding that every single particle of wealth in human history moved from one hand to another because someone decided to take it, and someone else allowed it to be taken. Do you see the simplicity now? The gate is not locked. It was never locked. You were just taught to kneel before it and beg for a key they told you was complicated to forge. The foundational truth: extraction, not creation. This will be the heaviest pill you will ever swallow. Your entire moral and economic worldview is built on a foundation of fairy tales. That wealth is created, that you add value, that the market rewards contribution. This is the sob story told to the labor force. Wealth is not created, it is extracted. It is concentrated. It is diverted from a larger flow into your own reservoir. Every single fortune, without exception, is built on this principle. To believe otherwise is to confess that you are still a child waiting to be given a reward for good behavior. Look at nature. The lion does not create the antelope. It identifies the weak, the slow, the inattentive, and it takes. The tree does not create the sunlight. Its leaves position themselves to capture it, shadowing the plants below. This is not evil. This is the fundamental order. Sentimentality has no place in this analysis. The human ecosystem is identical, just clothed in suits and digital transactions. The value you believe you create is irrelevant. What is relevant is the perception of value you can attach to a lever of extraction. That lever is always connected to one of three sources: the labor of others, the attention of others, or the fear/desire of others. The billionaire does not create $1 billion of value. He builds a system that extracts $10 from 1 million people. The landlord does not create housing. He controls access to a necessity and extracts a toll for it. The influencer does not create content. He captures your dwindling attention and sells it to the highest bidder. The consultant does not create solutions. He sells you the certainty you lost when you confused activity with achievement. Your task is not to brainstorm what to build. Your task is to analyze the existing flows of energy, time, and capital, and to insert your siphon. Where is there friction? Where is there ignorance? Where is there a desperate need for a shortcut, for relief, for status, for security? That gap, that dependency, is your point of extraction. The tool you use, a business, a service, a platform, an idea, is merely the conduit. The mechanism is the transfer. This is the foundational truth that separates the sovereign from the serf. The serf believes he must plant a new field. The sovereign surveys all existing fields, identifies the most fertile, and takes control of the irrigation system. Stop asking, what can I create? Start asking, what is already valued, and how can I position myself as the toll bridge between that value and those who crave it? The machinery. Seeing the tracks. Once you accept the principle of extraction, you must learn to see the machinery. The flows of capital are not invisible. They leave tracks like game trails for the hunter. Your blindness to them is what has kept you poor. You see products, jobs, and prices. You must learn to see the three primary channels of extraction: commerce, influence, and leverage. Commerce is the most straightforward track, but the amateurs confuse it. It is not about selling a better product. It is about controlling the access to a solution for an existing ache. The profit is not a reward for virtue. It is the gap between what it costs you to control that access and what the desperate are willing to pay to relieve their ache. Your focus shifts from product development to identifying acute, recurring desperation. Influence is the more refined track. Here, you are not extracting directly from a transaction, but from the potential of transactions. You become a gravitational center for attention. You build a persona, the authority, the insider, the untouchable. This influence is then parlayed into the other channels. You sell access to your audience. You dictate terms to suppliers. You are paid not for labor, but for your weighted presence. Your image becomes a siphon. Leverage is the master track. This is the cold application of pressure to a critical point. It is legal precedent, debt structures, contract clauses, and information asymmetry. It is knowing something vital that the other party does not and using that gap to dictate terms. It is employing other people's time, other people's capital, and other people's risk to build your reservoir. Your own hands never touch the plow. You own the field and take a share of every harvest. The machinery is always running. Commerce moves goods. Influence moves minds. Leverage moves ownership. Your path to wealth is not in building a new machine, but in quietly inserting your gear into one of these existing powerful systems. Find the track, study its direction, then become a necessary, unspoken part of its route. Your new religion. Ruthless pragmatism. The morality you were taught is a system of control. Its purpose is to make you predictable, placid, and easily managed. It is a suit of armor they gave you that is impossibly heavy in battle, while they themselves operate with fluid, situational ethics. To step onto the tracks of extraction, you must shed this weight. Your new dogma has one commandment. Does it work? This is ruthless pragmatism. It is the total subordination of feeling, tradition, and principle to the singular metric of effective action. Every decision, relationship, and strategy must pass through this filter. Your conscience is not your guide. It is your enemy. It is the ghost of a priest whispering fairy tales in your ear while the wolves close in. Sentimentality is a strategic vulnerability. Loyalty is a contract that expires the moment it becomes a liability. Fairness is a concept invented by the weak to negotiate with the strong. You are not here to be good. You are here to be effective. This does not mean mustache-twirling villainy. That is inefficient and draws attention. It means cold calculation. It means offering kindness when it builds influence and withdrawing it the moment it does not. It means honoring agreements not out of virtue, but because a reputation for reliability is a tool. It means understanding that truth itself is a commodity, to be disclosed, withheld, or shaped based on its utility. Your new religion worships at the altar of cause and effect. You become a student of human nature, not to empathize, but to predict, to manipulate. Your only sin is inefficiency. Your only grace is results. The world is not divided into good and evil. It is divided into the effective and the ineffective, the powerful and the powerless. Choose your side. The silent execution, annihilation of potential, eradication of the need for recognition. This is the phase where the amateur's dream dies in the glare of the spotlight and the sovereign's wealth is built in the shadows. You do not speak of your strategy. You do not seek motivation from the crowd. You become a silent, incremental force of nature. Potential is the currency of the mediocre. It is future wealth they can spend today on social credit, while their actual power remains at zero. You will trade all of it for silent, fractional, tangible gain. Your moves are invisible. Your growth is undetectable. On a day-to-day basis, you are not building in public. You are accumulating in private. This is a military operation. Secrecy is your air superiority. Loose talk compromises supply lines. The moment you reveal your target or your progress, you invite competitors, skeptics, and parasites who will seek to drain your energy or block your path. There is no dopamine hit from announcing a goal. The only reward is the result. You execute one calculated action, then another. You take one piece of territory, then consolidate. No fanfare, no validation. Your left hand should not celebrate what your right hand acquires. Movement replaces motivation. System replaces inspiration. While others are announcing their plans to the world, you have already completed the first 3 silent, decisive steps. The castle is built brick by brick in the fog, and when the mist clears, your position is already unassailable. The execution was silent. The result speaks for itself. The final selection, listen closely. This is the final filter. Understanding these principles means nothing. Agreement is worthless. You have now been exposed to the blueprint of power in its rawest form. This knowledge does not elevate you, it indicts you. There now exists a chasm between those who know and those who are. The majority who hear this will experience a brief, incendiary shock and then revert. Their conditioning is too deep. Their need for moral comfort too great. They will intellectualize these truths as cynical or dark, and retreat into the familiar prison of complexity and permission-seeking. They were given a key and will choose to hang it on a wall. As a curiosity, they will remain prey. A select few will be forged by this. Their vision will permanently shift. They will see the tracks, adopt a pragmatism, and execute in silence. They will feel the old self, the hopeful, moral, seeking self, slough away like dead weight. This is not a choice. It is a selection. You are now at this precipice. One path is a life of understood servitude. The other is a life of sovereign power, isolated and real. The market has spoken. Which are you?